Okay, imagine this. A huge, rocky giant just standing watch over this ancient city.
You mean Alvand Mountain?
Exactly. Alvand Peak overlooking Hamedan. It's just this massive presence, part of the Zagros range.
Yeah, it really dominates the horizon there.
And it's more than just scenery, isn't it? There's this whole story woven around the mountain and its surroundings.
Absolutely. And that's what we're diving into today.
Right. We're looking at how everything connects in the Alvand region.
Uh-huh. The mountain itself, naturally, but also this revered shrine, Imam Ko.
The one tucked away in the foothills, in that green valley.
That's the one. The Mavoshan River Valley, or Imam Ko Valley, people call it both. And then there's Solon Village nearby, which has this really vibrant community life.
So the idea is to see how the landscape, the religion, and the people living there all fit together.
Precisely. How they interact and influence each other.
And for this deep dive, we've pulled together quite a few sources.
We have some Wikipedia entries for the basics,
Right.
Geography, history.
Then there's a tourism website focusing on the Imam Ko shrine.
Yep, and a news piece about a religious leader doing some interesting work in Solon.
Plus another report about some challenges popping up in the Hadera area, also near Alvand.
And even the Solon Village website itself, giving their own historical background. It's a good mix.
So the mission really is to understand this unique relationship between the Alvand landscape, its history, its religious side, like at Imam Ko,
And the day-to-day life in places like Solon, but also acknowledging the modern pressures you see in areas like Hadera. Get the full picture.
Okay, let's unpack it, starting with the big one, Alvand Mountain, the peak that gives the whole range its name.
Right. And it really stands out. We found two different elevations listed, actually.
Oh, yeah.
One says 584 meters, another 350. Either way, it's considered one of the world's 101 most prominent peaks.
Wow. What does that really mean in, practical terms?
Well, it basically speaks to how much it dominates the surrounding landscape visually. For Hamedan, it's just there, looming over the city, like a giant rock watching over everything.
That kind of landmark, it must really get into the local identity.
Oh, definitely. Features like that often do.
And it's not just static. I love this description. We found the sleeping lion.
Yeah, that's evocative, isn't it? Captures that sort of majestic, quiet power.
Totally. And it seems climbers and nature lovers are drawn to it all year round. It's not just a summer thing.
Well, the terrain offers different challenges, and the beauty changes with the seasons. Snow in winter, green in summer. That sleeping lion idea probably resonates because it feels ancient, powerful.
Makes sense. And if you want to climb it, there are established routes.
Several, yeah. From Ganjama Valley, Kavaristan, Hamedan, Mishan.
Takti Nader, Kolalan, too. And there's a shelter at Hamedan Mishan, which must be pretty crucial for climbers.
Absolutely. Those routes, those shelters, they become part of the mountain story, generations using them.
Human interaction with the landscape.
Exactly. People drawn to it, testing themselves against it.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting for me, the history. It's not just a modern climbing spot.
Not at all. Deep roots. In Pahlavi texts, it's Arvand.
Okay.
And even older, in the Avesta, it's Urinta.
Urinta. Wow. And there's that legend, too, right? About someone named Arvand being buried there.
Yeah, supposedly giving the mountain its name. Knowing these old names, these stories, it just adds such a layer.
It really does. Connects the physical place to ancient beliefs, ancient people. Makes you think about how long it's been significant.
Millennia. Witnessing history unfold. And that legend personalizes it. Weaves myth right into the rock.
We also saw mentions of photos, winter and summer views. The contrast must be incredible.
That's part of the appeal, I think. Stark winter beauty, then vibrant summer life. Always changing.
And Alvand isn't alone up there. It's a whole range.
Oh, yeah. Quite a few other notable peaks. Almacola, Carcass.
Carcass sounds intense.
Yeah, maybe. Then Koizel Arslan, Dame Barf, Kolalan, which we heard is also wrote.
Right.
Tariq Dara, Kamar Larzan, Jahar Kole, Yakhchal Sahib, Shaneshin, and Kolakazi. It's a crowd.
That's a serious list. Do the sources tell us much about those individual peaks?
Not in detail, no. Just the names, mostly. But the sheer number tells you something about the scale, the complexity of the range. Lots of different terrains up there.
And for people exploring, besides the Hamedan Mishan shelter on Alvand,
there are others at Sahib al-Zaman Yakhchal and Kolalan, important refuges.
And we have coordinates, too, pinning it down on the map, grounding all that history and legend in a real place.
Exactly. It makes it tangible.
Okay, let's come down from the peaks now into the foothills. to Imamzada Ko.
Right, the shrine. Its location is key end of the Barfin Valley, also called Vafarjan. Very green, apparently.
And it's described as both religious and recreational. How does that work?
Well, often these holy sites and beautiful natural spots become places for, pilgrimage, but also just for people to find some peace, enjoy nature. The journey can be spiritual, and the scenery helps.
Makes sense. And the religious core is the burial place of Mohsen bin Ali bin Hussein, a descendant of Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba.
Peace be upon them all, yes.
Yeah.
A direct lineage. And locally, he's called Imam Hajat.
The Imam of Needs. That sounds very personal, like people go there with specific hopes.
It really implies that, seeking help, answers to prayers, creates a strong connection.
And there's another layer, a tradition. His mother was Laila, sister of Imam Muhammad Baqir.
So deep ties within Shia Islam. But the site's history might go back even further, beyond this specific figure.
How so?
Well, the sources mention graves said to belong to Arab figures from the early Arab-Iranian wars.
Really? Like who?
Abu Dujana Ansari, who was a companion of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. That suggests the area was seen as significant very early on in the Islamic period here.
Wow. And the building itself tells a story across centuries.
It really does. The current structure, mostly Ilkhanid period, so 735 AH.
Around the 14th century CE.
Right. But built on an older 6th century structure. And then renovations later, Safavid and Qajar times, layers of history.
What do those layers tell us?
Well, changes in architectural style, for one, but also the ongoing importance. People kept investing in it, maintaining it, adding to it, shows continuous reverence.
And potentially even older roots, before Islam.
That's a fascinating possibility. The orientation of the building towards sunrise has led some to speculate it might have originally been a Sasanian fire temple.
A pre-Islamic holy site. That would be incredible.
It really would. Suggesting this valley, this specific spot, has been considered sacred for a very, very long time across different faiths.
So let's picture the place now. A large porch, 2 brick domes.
And a shaneshin, like a special alcove, maybe for dignitaries.
And the haram, the main sanctuary. 2 connected brick buildings, you said, with similar domes.
Identical high domes, yeah. The first building, some believe, might house the graves of those companions, like Abu Dujana.
Okay, and we have dimensions for that first part?
Roughly 7 by 7 meters square, with an octagonal base for the dome. Gives you a feel for the space.
And then Imamzada Mohsen's tomb itself.
Inside, there's this wooden box with an inscription. Mentions his lineage and the year 935 AH.
Islamic calendar, so around 1528 CE.
Right. And the box itself, the inlaid one, is apparently Qajar period later on. Shows ongoing care.
And the shrine itself, silver.
The silver shrine, yes. Decorated with mirrorwork, jewels. Very ornate. And the dome is conical, covered in turquoise and azure tiles. Beautiful work.
Sounds stunning. A real testament to craftsmanship and faith.
Absolutely. All these details reflect the art of different eras and the shrine's enduring status.
And there's a minaret, too.
A brick one, about 20 meters high. Classic feature. Plus, the entrance porch has tile work and those intricate muqarnas, the honeycomb-like decorations.
Oh, muqarnas, yeah. Beautiful Islamic design element.
And arcades, rawaks around the sanctuary with similar decorations. It all adds to the sacred atmosphere.
It sounds like more than just the shrine building, too. A courtyard.
A pretty big one, yeah, with trees, flowers, and a library, even a small museum with artifacts. Plus, guest houses for pilgrims. It's a whole complex.
A real destination, not just for prayer, but for, well, experiencing the history and beauty.
And the natural setting is a big part of that. Pleasant climate, scenic valley, trees, local markets pop up selling produce, souvenirs, orchards nearby too.
That blend of sacred space and natural beauty must be a big draw.
I think so. It's about 15 kilometers from Hamedan city.
The drive there goes through several villages.
Yeah, Marianaj, Solan, which we'll get to Tavijan, Movijan, Fafarjan. Then you reach the valley. Probably a nice drive itself.
A kind of approach to the holy site.
And given the altitude, spring and summer are the best times to visit. Winter gets cold.
Makes sense. And it's officially recognized, right, as a historical site.
Yes, registered back in 1347, Iranian calendar year, number 824, underscores its cultural value.
And the valley had older names. Mavashan Rud.
Mavashan Rud, or Mavoshan Rud, apparently a popular recreational spot way back in the 6th century. Names change over time, reflecting how places are used.
Interesting. And it connects via Haidara to the main Hamedan road, Haidara. We'll come back to that one.
Right. But first, let's talk about Solan village.
Okay, Solan, the first village you hit in that Mavashan River Valley, the Imamzada Ko Valley.
Yep, part of the Alvand Garbi district. Only about 4 kilometers from Hamadan city, but higher up, average altitude 20, 30 meters.
That close to the city. How has that affected it?
Well, population-wise, back in 2013, it was around 3,400 people, over 1,000 households.
And demographically?
Persian-speaking, Shia Muslims. Pretty straightforward profile there.
What about the name Solon? Any clues there?
It's a bit mysterious, actually. The village website suggests a few possibilities. Time of joy, maybe?
Yeah.
Or place of heroes, maybe spearmen, or something to do with water.
But people there aren't sure now.
Apparently not, which suggests, some history might have faded a bit.
That place of heroes idea is intriguing, though. Could it have been like a garrison town or something? For royal soldiers?
It's possible. Names can hold echoes like that.
Yeah.
But the sources do say the village has changed a lot, and parts of its past are fuzzy now.
Happens all the time with old places, doesn't it?
It does. Oral history fades, records get lost.
So what about life there now? And historically?
Agriculture and raising animals, that's been the core.
What kind of crops?
In the past, a real mix. Barley, wheat, cotton, beans, coriander, melons, cucumbers, tomatoes, potatoes, fodder.
Sounds pretty self-sufficient.
It likely was. But things have shifted. Less wheat and barley now.
Why is that?
Probably because the local mills aren't used anymore and people aren't baking bread at home the same way.
Modernization changes things. So what's popular now?
Potatoes, cucumbers, tomatoes, beans. And garlic seems to be a big cash crop for the market.
Makes sense. And orchards, too.
Oh, yes. Walnuts, apricots, almonds, Oleister that's singed, and grapes. Common sights.
And livestock.
Sheep, cattle, goats, donkeys. Used to be more horses and mules for transport, but fewer now. Dairy was important, too. It's all tied to the land, the valley's resources.
And besides farming, any other traditional jobs?
Yeah, supplementary work, milling, like we said, baking, running caravans.
Caravans. So it was on a route.
Must have been, yeah. Also, carpet weaving, calico weaving, fattening livestock for sale, and gathering wild stuff, too.
Like what?
Like tragacanth gum used in medicine and food, and salep, that orchid root flower. Shows they used everything the local environment offered.
Resourceful. And water, obviously crucial. Where did it come from?
The Mabashan River, plus lots of springs and these traditional underground channels, qanats.
Right, qanats, ingenious irrigation. Did they manage the water communally?
Seems like it. They had a sharing system based on a unit called PA. Shows long-standing cooperation over a resource.
And those old mills you mentioned.
Several listed on the village website. Most are houses now, though. Sign of the times.
The landscape sounds quite varied, too. Mountains, hills.
Lots of local names for them. Kui Haydar. Kui Sangar. Sangar means trench. Might hint at old defenses.
Interesting.
Kui Shamazar. And lots of tapes or hills. Each name probably has a local story.
And valleys, too.
Plenty of those as well. Derye Cheshmechera. Derye Baleh. One interesting one is Derye Chamazar. It actually has different names depending on whether you're in Solon, Marianas, or Haida.
Shows how these places are linked but still distinct.
Exactly. And there are specific Azil areas mentioned, maybe prime land or old divisions, and local shrines within Solon too.
Shrines, like smaller ones?
Yeah, Akhmazan, possibly Imamzad Ibrahim, and Mola Chabar. Little sites with their own local legends, religion woven into the landscape everywhere.
But one figure seems really central in Solon today, this imam of the village.
Maysam Rahimi Tayyib. Yes, the news article really focuses on him, paints him as this incredibly proactive community leader.
Proactive? How? What's he doing?
Well, a whole range of things. Boosting mosque attendance, organizing religious classes, youth programs, family counseling.
Okay, standard village imam roles, maybe?
But it goes way beyond. He's collaborating with other local groups, putting on cultural events, running a charity fund, directly supporting needy families.
Wow, that's quite involved.
And more. Job creation initiatives, women's empowerment programs, tackling social problems head-on.
Like what kind of problem?
Things like addiction, trying to prevent abortions, mediating disputes, even changing local customs around funerals to be less burdensome, promoting responsible spending.
He sounds like he's involved in almost every aspect of community life.
Deeply integrated, yeah. And he set up an interest-free loan fund, a Qars al-Hassana.
How did he fund that?
With money from some land that was donated.
Yeah.
A really sustainable community-based approach.
And people respond well to him.
The article stresses the trust and support he has, which, you need to have that kind of impact.
It paints a picture of Solon as this really engaged, dynamic place, largely because of his leadership.
It really does. A strong sense of community, guided by a respected figure working for the common good.
Okay, so that's Solon. Now let's contrast that with Haydare nearby. The picture there seems different, more challenging.
Yeah, quite a contrast. Hader is very close to Hamedan city, remember, only 5 kilometers out.
And it has a nice climate, which you'd think would be good, but
But it's led to problems. Lots of people building boggy houses, garden homes, moving out from the city, rapid growth, immigration,
okay, and that growth causes issues.
big time. Traffic is apparently a nightmare, especially weekends, holidays,
Mm,
because Hader is on that route to Imamzada Cove via Marianish.
right, and the traffic gets so bad.
It blocks emergency vehicles trying to get to the city, which is really serious.
Yikes. What's causing all the traffic? Just the houses.
That and also these unlicensed garden restaurants, bagasrans, they pop up, don't have proper parking, so cars just clog the narrow roads.
Unlicensed, so lack of oversight.
Seems like it. Most apparently don't have permits to change the land use from agricultural.
And other things adding to traffic.
Yeah, big national projects nearby. A huge park, Vilayat Park, something called Jewelry City, a seminary, more commuters, more construction traffic.
It sounds like a bottleneck. And dangerous.
Very. High accident rate reported on the road connecting Hadera to Charmshazi, the leatherworking area, and poor lighting doesn't help.
So infrastructure isn't keeping up.
Not really. Sewage is another big problem, mostly just absorption wells, which cause environmental issues and cost residents a lot to empty.
Is there a plan for a proper system?
A study is planned, apparently, but not much progress. Water shortages have also been an issue, addressed somewhat, but maybe not sustainably, just using local springs.
And all this pressure. What's
Yeah.
it doing to the traditional character of the place? The orchards, the Baghdari?
That's maybe the saddest part. Orcharding is declining.
Why?
Water scarcity, frost damage, rising costs, lack of support from, agricultural agencies or insurance.
So people are giving up.
They're selling their bags, the land gets broken up, the whole green character is threatened. Plus, no cold storage facilities, Sardkhanas, or processing industries nearby, so limited options for farmers.
That sounds like a downward spiral. And social issues, too.
The report mentions cultural negligence leading to Velangariha, basically, a disregard for norms, causing clashes, security worries.
And not enough police presence.
Limited permanent presence, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes it hard to manage.
Environmental problems on top of that.
Stray dogs are an issue, drawn by construction waste in restaurants. And weirdly, wild boars.
Wild boars, where did they come from?
Apparently introduced by the Environment Department about a decade ago. Now they're damaging gardens and farms. Conflict between wildlife and residents.
Man, it sounds like a mess. And visually, all those new houses.
They're starting to overshadow the greenery, the very thing people move there for. And the restaurants using the road shoulders for parking. It just looks unregulated.
People are worried about losing Hamedan's lungs, right? The green belt.
Exactly. There's a clear call in the report for better regulations, controlling the construction, and concerns about, moral issues and social friction between newcomers and older residents.
So, bringing it all together.
You've got Alvand, this massive natural anchor, shaping identity, inspiring legends.
Then Amzadako, the spiritual heart in the foothills, drawing people for centuries, linking faith and history to the land.
And Solon showing this internal community strength, tackling problems proactively, led by this influential local figure. Resilience.
And contrasting that, Haydare, kind of struggling with the pressures of being too close to the city. Rapid growth, infrastructure gaps, environmental strain, social tensions.
It really highlights that complex dance between growth and tradition, city influence, and rural life.
Yeah, it all comes back to how the landscape shapes everything. Beliefs, activities, challenges. The Alvand region is such a powerful example of that interconnectedness.
It really is. Mountain, shrine, village life, modern pressures all tangled together.
So maybe the final thought for you, listening, is this. How does this play out? This push and pull between tradition and modernity, faith and fun, development versus preservation. How will it keep shaping this region?
And what's the responsibility here? For the communities, for the authorities, how do you balance these competing forces to keep a place like this vital and, harmonious for the future? Something to think about.